Hi, I'm going to talk to you today about the LMS that I use in class, which is Schoology. I use Schoology basically because that is the LMS that is supported by my school district, and I just figured if I had any problems, the technology department is supporting this, so that's what I was going to use. This is my homepage, and you can see that I'm connected to several groups. I like Schoology educators. This is a group of people who use Schoology, and if there's any problems with Schoology, if you don't know how to do something, this is a great place to ask people who are using Schoology themselves. I have also joined the blended learning group and the flipped learning group, and I've been able to see how other teachers are using Schoology in their classrooms. So this is a great resource that's available on Schoology. All of my classes use Schoology as the LMS. I teach applied chemistry, career tech chemistry, and forensics. Today I'm going to take you into the career tech chemistry class. This class uses a flipped model. Excuse me. So here I provide students with the basics for the course. Because of the flip model, students need to earn so many points per chapter, so I provide them with a progress indicator, which shows them how they're progressing towards the minimum number of points required for each chapter. And then if I go back to my main page for the class, you can see that the rest of the folders are set up by unit. I don't close old units out for students because I have students working at different places. So for example, we're currently in Unit 5, which is nomenclature, but I have some students who are finishing out Unit number 4 on bonding. I also want to allow students to go back and look at previous notes from previous units if they need to review. So I do tend to keep my units open. So let's take a look at what happens here in my most recent unit, which is on nomenclature. Here I have my folders set up within the unit based on content, so students can find their notes, and when they want to watch a note, all they have to do is go into the notes section and open up the video, and they can start watching the notes immediately from here. Students are required to watch notes and turn in notes from the videos, so that's a required assignment for all students. Students are then able to choose if they want to do worksheets or labs or textbook assignments to earn their points. So I have those all separated by content: worksheets, lab activities, textbook activities. I set up all of my worksheets together so students know if I want to do a worksheet, this is where I go to find it. I've decided not to set up folders based on days because students have that kind of freedom. I want them to be able to easily find those assignments that they want to do. One thing that I've been able to do in Schoology is link worksheets that I've created in Google Drive, and so I make students make a copy. So first of all, they cannot mess up my original, and second of all, that gives them the copy to the worksheet, so students can just click right into the worksheet and begin working. I do like that I'm given an overview of which students have turned in which assignments, and I can also easily see what their grades are. Another thing I do like about Schoology is that if I click on a student's name, it will open up the work that they submitted, and I can see immediately how they're doing. I can make comments, I can draw on their worksheet, so if they have a mistake, I can circle the mistake, and then I can add in a comment with a post-it note, and I can say this is actually carbonate and not carbonite, and then students can go back and they can view the notes that I've made. I can also change from one student to the next just by clicking on their name and seeing how they're doing. Students are also able to turn in handwritten assignments, and here's an example of that. Sometimes the font is too big, so you just need to zoom out. But again, I can see a picture of the work that the students have done, and I can also use my commenting tools on this. So it's a great way to provide feedback to students when they turn in work using Schoology. The labs and the textbook assignments are organized in the same way. This particular chapter doesn't have a lot of labs, just a game for students to complete. The textbook assignments are also included, where students can select which textbook assignment they want to complete and turn that in as well. I'm also able to include required assignments for students, which is where the whole class comes back together and does a project or a large lab as a group, and then students go back to whatever section they're working on within the unit. I do like Schoology. I do think that separating the work by content really helps my students with a flex model. I think that this makes the workflow a lot easier because students are able to just open up the work that they need to do and then resubmit it to me, and there's no issue with, well, Mrs. Benke, I lost my homework, or the dog ate my worksheet, or whatever. The work is automatically saved into their Google Drive, and then they submit it to me. And so even if the work isn't 100% complete, they can turn in what they have done and get credit for the work that they have done. At the beginning of each unit, students are given a copy of the menu of work. The menu of work just lists how many points are required for students to complete and what options they have. So I do make students make a copy of this because it helps them with keeping track of what they need to do for the unit. I think being able to get this to them, and again, allowing them to keep a copy of it, is good and helpful for the students. So this is basically how I use Schoology with my career tech class. As I mentioned, my applied chemistry classes work a little bit differently, but I wanted to show you my flex model and how I work that out with students. So hopefully you learned something new about Schoology that you may be able to implement in your classroom.